So these girls look like they're enjoying themselves. I actually think it's fake. I think it's fake. Fake news! I'm not buying this. I'm sorry, MG. I was looking for a family SUV that doesn't look too boring. And this looks cool to me. It still has a sunroof. It has, by the look of it, much better position.
Let's compare MG Australia offering of the car lineup to something like MG India offering of a car lineup. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dimitri and this is MG Owners Australia, and today I thought I'm gonna offer you yet another semi-entertaining, hopefully, casual comparison of a lineup of vehicles that are offered to us by MG in Australia to something that is happening overseas. MG is a global brand. It has presence in multiple countries. India is one of them. And in my humble opinion, spoiler alert, you saw the thumbnail, I do think that the offering of Indian counterpart to MG Australia is a lot more compelling. Is it the case? Is it not the case? Obviously it's subjective and not very scientific, so please don't expect a deeply technical comparison of side-by-side numbers and specs and all of that kind of stuff. But from a perception perspective, from what a consumer sees out there, I hope this has some value for you, if not just purely for entertainment purposes, but that goes as well. Sounds like a cup of tea? Wanna give me a thumbs up to tell me that I'm doing something right? Do it right now. It takes you 1 second. Takes me a lot longer to record these videos for you. So thanks very much. Let's talk about it.
So we know what MG Australia is offering us because I was already talking about a few vehicles here, obviously reviewed my own, and we can very quickly have a look here on the website to see that they are promoting quite a few vehicles right now. We have 2 vehicles in EV range, so electric vehicles. They're definitely pushing clearly to Australian market with EV vehicles. I do not think that they will succeed particularly, even though I know that some of my subscribers have already bought EVs and seem to be happy with them. However, I would put significant money as a bet on the fact that they are not planning to do very long drives, because if you do long drives across Australia, you will figure out very quickly, and I'm not the only person who's talking about this online, that infrastructure of Australia is not ready for it. You are going to struggle to find recharging stations not in the city but between the cities. I don't think infrastructure of Australia is the same as, let's say, Europe or speculatively America, but I don't know anything about it. Talk to me if you're there and if you even have MGs anyway, or electric vehicles for that matter. We obviously have HS. I spoke about HS a lot. Very first video on this channel is about HS. I love HS. I still remember it fondly, other than its stupid DCT, dual clutch transmission, and horrible infotainment system. Then we have in the family a ZST that you also all have heard about, and I very recently took a look at MG3 as well. MG3 is, look, cheap and cheerful, but would I particularly recommend it? Possibly. On the second thought, no, because I don't think that not having an ANCAP rating is a very good thing in Australia. So that's the first thing. And secondly, for such a little nimble, kinda appealing car, especially in this price category, I don't think this car drives as nicely as it's supposed to, in my opinion. So these girls look like they're enjoying themselves. I actually think it's fake. I think it's fake. Fake news! I'm not buying this. I'm sorry, MG. You know I'm a big proponent of the brand and I like your other vehicles, but I don't think MG3, upon reflection, is probably in the shape that it needs to be in to appeal to a buyer. I don't think so. Okay, cool. So this is as far as MG Australia is concerned. We have 2 EVs. We have still ZS on offer. Strangely enough, we have ZST on offer, even though ZST is superseding ZS. I don't even know why it's listed here. Surely in just a lower price category, sure, fine, than ZST. We have HS. If I look at this lineup, my friends, here is what comes to mind. Let's be honest. Subjectively, obviously subjectively. What comes up to in my mind is that it's a rather boring lineup. Bear with me. It's boring visually. We have pretty much identically looking cars other than MG3. By identically, I mean these two look absolutely the same. There is, once you got used to it, to the elegance, to the other kind of stuff, that's definitely good. Let's not forget that there is a lot of good about it. The visuals are not astounding. It's exactly the same. It looks the same. ZS EV, ZS and ZST, other than tiny little differences, look also identical, don't you think? Okay, let's look at the big picture here. Let's not be pedantic, let's not split hairs. But hopefully you know where I'm coming from here. It is a rather boring lineup. Yes, I'll raise my hand and say that obviously I've been looking at it for a while as well, hence why it is extra boring for me. But overall, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. There is nothing exciting happening. And brands, by the way, are refreshing themselves in 2022, 2023 lineup of models. They're doing something to also tell the customer, hey, look at renewing your car. Maybe think about selling your car because we're coming up with this awesome new model. Perhaps. So bear with me. So this is the train of thought that I'd like to share with you here. So this is MG Australia, right? Now, let's take a look at what MG India is doing. They have Astor, they have Hector, they have EV, one of them. Okay, sure, they want to say, hey, we have EVs in case you want one. They have Gloster, all right? So what is Astor? Astor is ZS ZST. I cannot exactly say if it's ZS or ZST, but you can see that it's almost identical to what in Australia looks like ZS or ZST. I am deliberately not going into technicalities of it, my friends. I'm not comparing the actual specifications, although I'm pretty sure they'd be very, very close. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But even from a quick glance, Astor looks like ZST to me. Yeah? Maybe the grille looks a tiny bit different, correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks pretty damn nice, very recognizable, low quality video, unfortunately. So Astor looks like that small towards mid-size SUV, something that I bought for my wife and something that she's still quite enjoying. It looks nice and fresh and fit for purpose. I am even not bothering to convert the pricing here, how much it is in India versus how much it is in Australia, but it does look like our beloved ZST. So that's, I would say, that's a good, awesome presence for, that's a staple car. I would say it's a staple car for MG wherever they are. I would say, agreed, cool, Australia, India, 1-1. We're going further, and I'm going to skip Hector for now. Just bear with me. I'm going to skip Hector. I'm going to just address the fact that they have ZS EV. Not too much to be said about this. I already spoke about what I feel about electric vehicles in general and pricing of them, most importantly, especially for MG, that at least in Australia is positioned as a budget-friendly brand. This pushes way too high for no good reason, in my opinion. Okay, but it is what it is. So they also have an EV, and I think it's more of a token presence because I can't imagine. But correct me if I'm wrong. Don't want to offend anyone. I can't imagine Indian infrastructure across the land, across the country, in terms of EV, electric vehicles, supply of these powering stations, charging stations, being much better than Australia. But, you know what, I've been surprised before, I might be surprised again. Now, here we come to my beloved MG Gloster. MG Gloster is what I'm driving, my friends. I am driving it under the brand of LDV D90. This is exactly how my car looks, except my car is white. And in Australia, for some, excuse me, stupid reason, it's a stupid reason, MG Australia and LDV Australia and your parent company, to split the brands. Why? Why not keep it under the same roof? I have absolutely no idea. But you can see MG Gloster right here. It belongs to the same brand. I am much more of a fan of MG presence of the brand in Australia, even though it is lacking as well in many ways. But it certainly is better than LDV. It certainly is better than LDV. So India has done one not even arguably smarter thing. They kept it all in the house. And here is what I'm referring to, my friends. What I referred to is that they have a smallish Astor, they have a mid-size Hector that we're going to take a look at in a second, and they have a massive Gloster. They have three size cars, right? MG Australia has a bunch of mid-size cars and a tiny MG3 that's not even uncarbureted. That's basically what they have. And in this particular case, I'm not even talking about the drivetrain. I'm not talking about EV versus petrol. But you know what I'm saying. Okay, so so these are the things. So I think that Indian lineup of the cars is just a smarter spread. They don't have a micro car, they don't have MG3, but they have everything else that basically probably talks to vast majority of the market, right? Now, we spoke enough about HS, so we're not going to go back there or compare these cars side by side. But me as a person who is a fan generally of MG brand and who looks for excitement, I want to look forward to something. I'm not saying I'm ready to change my LDV D90 for something, but if, for example, MG Australia brought in Hector suddenly, yeah, if they brought in this car into Australia, and I'm not saying that I like this particular red look, but overall, when I start looking at specifications of the car, when I start looking at you know, other kind of things, it looks more like an SUV rather than like an elegant English curvy car that HS undoubtedly is, even if we started comparing. I would have personally gone for Hector. I would have personally considered buying this if I actually saw this somewhere either before when I was buying my HS, when I was considering an HS. I was looking for a family SUV that doesn't look too boring. And this looks cool to me. It still has a sunroof. It has, by the look of it, much better positioned infotainment screen that vaguely reminds me of a massive vertically positioned infotainment screen and control screen of Tesla. It even looks a tiny bit like Tesla, that central panel, to me, LCD. I would love to talk to someone in my audience who is from India or who somehow has their hands on Hector. Maybe it is somewhere else. I took a look at the offerings of what they have at MG Philippines. They don't have a Hector. And we don't have a Hector in Australia. And it's annoying me because I actually love this positioning. I think this iPad style vertical kind of portrait mode, I suppose, rather than landscape mode positioning of the screen would work much better for me. I think ergonomically it would work much better in the car. And the rest of it seems like they are offering exactly the same safety features that HS does. It still has this AI that they're boasting and other kind of things. It looks all right to me. So I am just looking at this, and ultimately, my friends, my question is, MG Australia, why don't you diversify the offering similarly to how Indian colleagues have done? Why don't you bring in a little bit more of interesting offering, like choice? Basically, I think when we look at MG Australia yet again, I can't help but thinking that we lack choice. Look at this visual lineup and look at what these vehicles are serving, what purpose they're serving. MG HS, I would refuse. If anyone says to me it's a large SUV, it doesn't feel like a large SUV. Yes, there is enough of people, enough of space for people to sit inside, but boot certainly disqualifies it from that perspective of a large SUV. Like functionally, it's supposed to be a sports utility vehicle. MG HS offers you comfort of drive, but it offers you virtually no utility. Come at me, my friends, but better not. So ZST is a mid-size. I almost cannot call it an SUV. It doesn't look like an SUV. It looks like a lifted car, which is nice. It doesn't mean that it's not nice. And MG3 is a tiny buy the first car for your daughter type of thing, except if you don't like your daughter too much because it's not uncap rated. Yeah. So let's just be honest. Let's be brutally honest. I think that this lineup is boring. These girls are fake, is what I think. Yeah, you are fake, lady. I'm sorry. Yeah. And what we see in the offering of our kind of Indian counterpart, I suppose, to this MG offering across the sea, let's call it. To me, to my eye, it looks much better, this offering. I do prefer what they have to offer here. And yes, I am sort of looking at Hector, as you can tell, and I very much like what it looks like, and I regret that MG Australia is not offering us this quite appealing and a lot more SUV-looking vehicle. SUV-looking vehicle that looks like a large SUV. Yeah, I'm really disappointed that they don't. As well as they also made it smart and they kept Gloster in the family of MG rather than put it into the brand that sells vans. LDV sells vans in Australia. Keep it for vans, keep it for trucks, keep it for whatever you want. But at the same time, this car always belonged with MG brand as Indian our Indian friends across the sea are basically showing us in this particular case. It makes so much logical sense in terms of the lineup of the vehicles from the same brand, MG Australia, and in terms of I would have preferred my car to belong to MG. I would have continued servicing it with MG rather than drive to Parramatta and deal with LDV. And that's only one of my annoyances, but it's one of my pet hates in terms of what we have to deal with here. And these are my thoughts, my friends. I would have loved to be able to sit in and test drive this Hector. It looks awesome, and I know it's a promotional image. They always make them look awesome. It's not necessarily like that exactly in the real life, but it looks awesome. It looks awesome, and it's a shame that MG Australia is not diversifying its range. That basically is the bottom line of what I'm trying to say to you. Please talk to me in the comments down below. Did any of this resonate? We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree as long as we remain mutually respectful and understand that all of these thoughts, all of these kind of on-the-spot reviews, they come from a good place. They come from a private ownership perspective, and when I put myself in the shoes of similarly placed people in terms of their finances, in terms of what offering kind of is there on the market cars-wise in Australia for them, for you, that is where I'm coming from. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with any of this? Would you have loved for, say, MG Gloster to be part of MG brand? Would it make you consider buying MG Gloster versus LDV D90 as you have to do it in Australia right now? And also, as I said earlier, I am quite drawn, for the lack of a better word, to the Indian version of this lovely SUV Hector. And I would have considered buying one. Maybe. Not right now. I have my LDV D90. I'm reasonably happy with it. But if someone offered me a 7-seater, a big Hector from MG brand, yeah, I would have considered this. Definitely not in red, but I would have considered buying a Hector, maybe, if I was still on the market for a new car. Would love to hear back from you, my friends, as always. Talk to me in the comments down below. Like the video while you are here. Your vote always counts. It tells me that I'm doing something right, and it also tells YouTube algorithm to show the video to more people. Thanks very much for tuning in today, and I'll be speaking with you again about something else, MG or LDV related, in about a week's time. Bye for now.